I knew something was weird. I knew something was wrong.
It took me 10 doctors to find someone that believed my pain.
I thought maybe I'm dying or I have some kind of rare disease. Then I go online and find that millions of women are going through exactly what I'm going through.
For those of you who don't know what endometriosis is, 1 out of every 10 women suffer from it.
The disease is a largely ignored aspect in women's healthcare.
Don't exactly trust her telling me that everything's fine.
It's surreal that you get better information from a Facebook group than you do actual doctors.
The idea that women's pain is less relevant, less important, is not acceptable.
The system will be changed within. The revolution will come within.
I'm nervous.
Better diagnosis, better treatment.
If we don't say we're not going to live like this anymore, we're not going to accept this anymore, no one's going to do it for us. It's up to us to make the change.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. I'm so honored just to be here. My name is Dr. Andria Thompson. And if you're like me, seeing that clip, and that's why I wanted to share that clip with everyone, I had no idea what endometriosis was, let alone that it can become cancerous. So I was a fairly healthy person. I worked out, I ate well, tried to maintain a good weight, but I always had very painful menstrual cycles. I always had heavy menstrual cycles, and I thought nothing of it. I just figured, okay, this is just what women go through, the constant pain where sometimes I wouldn't even be able to go to work. I'd be in my bed for days, and just the constant pain. So it wasn't until 2019 that I noticed that the pain was intensified. I mean, it got so severe that I was admitted to the hospital, then came back out of the hospital, and they just this fluctuation kept going. And my cycle was so heavy where it was, and I'm trying to not be too graphic, but it was clots, like it was just constant bleeding. And I waited like months, 6, 7, 8 months to see a specialist. So when they finally got me to see somebody, I had to be admitted in the hospital again because the pain was so severe. And this is a thing with endometriosis, that sometimes doctors, they don't know how to diagnose you. And that's why I really wanted you. And if you can, take a moment to really go and see this movie, because it's very, very detailed. So women that suffer with it, they don't even know that, this is what it is. And so it went on like that for the longest time. So I had to do a full hysterectomy. Upon doing the full hysterectomy, they realized that now the cells had manipulated, and shortly after that, it became cancerous. And I'm like, how do I go from here to now here, to where now they're saying that it is like at stage 4? So you're telling me that I skipped the whole entire stages, and now I'm at stage 4, meaning all this time that what was happening within my body was that it was moving on stages. And like one of the doctors said, I was literally hemorrhaging to death. And nobody realized that. And because I am a woman of faith, a woman of prayer, I called everybody that I knew, and I said, just pray for me, because I was just intensified. The pain was just so severe. So when I went in and the doctor to do a surgery, they said they couldn't get the cancer because of the fact that it had now spread to my, and I'm trying to say the word right, aorta, which is it's like a thing that connects to your heart. Like it goes to your heart. So if that organ gets damaged, it presses against the heart, and then it can stop the flow of blood to your heart, and then obviously you could die. And so they said they couldn't remove it because it had spread to the entire tissue. And so I was like, literally in tears, literally. I mean, you see me here today and I'm calm, but literally totally freaking out. And they said to me at that point, all they could do is give me pain management and just something to control the pain, because there's nothing they could do to help. Even if I was to take treatment or chemotherapy, whatever it was, it was already spread to that point, because it came out of the womb, out of the whole womb canal. So therefore, now it's going to the lymph nodes. And at this time, the people that I knew, they were praying, people all across that were praying for me. I had a prayer chain going, and I was just believing God, and I was saying, okay, this cannot be my end. And literally bumped over in pain. I came down to like a toothpick because I've lost, like I couldn't eat. I couldn't keep anything down. And so with that being said, I started to try to change my diet. So I was eating broth, I was eating soup, just something to keep up my strength because I couldn't walk. I was pretty much bedridden. So they had me in palliative care. And then from palliative care, they said, okay, well, you staying in the bed, like, oh, there's nothing they can do. So you can go home. They'll assign me a nurse at home. So they assigned me a nurse at home, and at home she would come, she'd check my blood pressure, which was skyrocketing. So they now said you have a chance of ending up falling into a stroke because your blood pressure is so high. So because the pain was so severe, and when you have pain, it literally it gets everything because your body's just trying to protect itself. So the pain was so severe to the point where I was on the strongest dose of morphine. I had to see a pain management specialist. And in seeing her, they'd come to the house, they do tests, they do this. And obviously at this time, meanwhile, I was dwindling away. Like I was really, I couldn't do anything. And so just to fast forward to all of that, like my husband would come home, he passed out on the floor because I couldn't move. They'd have to rush me back into the hospital just to give me more pain, intensify the pain medication. And it just went on like this for months and months. And then it went up into 2020. And I think it was pretty much before we got into COVID. And the last straw was when I was going into the hospital. I literally passed out. And I remember saying to my husband, help me, because I didn't know what else to do. And he started crying, he started freaking out. And they were trying to revive me, like I was hearing them. They were trying to revive me. They kept pumping, they're saying, talk to us. And they kept pushing on me. I wasn't responding, but I heard them, but I couldn't speak to them. And they kept pumping, and I was pretty much like out. And the nurse slapped me. I felt the slap when she slapped me, and she's like, get up. And at that particular time, I jumped and I said, God, I thought it was gone. And then from that moment on, it's like things started to change. I don't know how. I mean, I know how because it was the grace of God, but things started to change. All of a sudden, when I woke up, it's like I knew there had to be a turnaround. And that's when I knew the prayers that they were praying, that had to save me. And so from there, I started to gain back my strength. I started to be able to eat. I started to be able to walk again. And I knew it was the grace of God that saved me. It was the faith and the prayers that saved me, because literally I thought on that bed that day that I was literally gone. So I'm saying all that to say that it's so important for us to know our bodies, because I believe if I had known that, okay, something has to be wrong. And even though the doctors were trying to tell me it's okay, this is a normal cycle, that's what's supposed to happen, you're supposed to have all this pain, I knew that something was wrong because I knew my body. But because you have to wait, I don't know if anybody's ever seen a specialist. You have to wait like the longest time just to see a specialist. They had me waiting like months. And I think all that time that I was waiting, it caused the cells in my body to manipulate and to become cancerous. So as I sit here today, and I'm cautioning every single woman that may listen to this message, that is listening to me, know your body, know your cycle, know your pain tolerance, know your blood flow. Like each month you calculate, okay, am I bleeding more than I should be bleeding? Because the endometrial, what happens if it gets too hardened? Obviously it can become cancer, but the other thing is that you can also get to a point where you will not be able to have children, or you can get to a point where, like, so many things that can happen. And I don't want to get into the medical aspect of it, because that is not my area of expertise, but just from my experience, that I know that there has to be a cure. I mean, right now they're saying there is no cure for endometriosis, but I know that faith, there is a cure, because God is able to heal and he's able to restore. So in closing, without being too long, I'm here today, and no more cancer. And when I look at the turnaround of where I was to compare to where I am today, I mean, I gained back some of my weight, which I was like, okay, great. But it's beautiful to see that literally the whole turnaround was simply by the grace of God. And so that's pretty much what I really wanted to share with everybody. And I'm encouraging you all to please go out and see this movie that is coming out. It's called Below the Belt. And it talks about the full scope of endometriosis. And remember, if there's endometriosis, and endometrial cancer is actually a different stage of endometriosis, but that's pretty much what it is. So if there's any questions or comments, I will take that at this time.
Is there anything that you would recommend for anyone who's kind of at their starting point of their search?
Their search for
an answer.
That has endometriosis?
Yes, or any kind of chronic illness that's kind of at their beginning stage, like knowing there's something off, but what can I do?
Yeah, like for me, I would always say my go-to is prayer, number one. And the most important thing also is to change your diet. It's very important. Like what we eat plays a lot. It just plays a lot on our body. So you can change your diet, seek a dietitian, and change the way that you eat. Try to exercise. I know sometimes the pain can be very severe, but move in, even if it's to walk, get your body going. It's very, very important. And seek help. Like continue to speak, continue to talk to somebody until there's a doctor that actually believes you. Because now it's getting to a point where doctors are realizing that, you know what, this is real. Women are experiencing this pain. It's not a makeup thing. It's not a make-believe. This is real. And now they're starting to hear us. And I'm hoping with other women that come out and talk about it and talk about their pain, that more people will see. But try to seek whatever help you can get in terms of doctors. But change the way that you eat and try to get as much rest as you can. Very important to rest your body.
And what are some elements of self-care that you like to do?
Myself, I love to pamper myself. So because of the pain that I experienced before, once a month, I now go and get my massage every month, just to get my body, the lymph nodes, everything flowing, because circulation is so key. So that's my thing each month. I budget, I make sure that I have that time, my hour, just to get my massage, have a quiet time. I like to have early in the morning where I have my quiet time of just reflecting, affirmations and prayers, and really preparing my mind, because I believe that everything comes from within, right? So you have to start with that place of your mind, your soul, that mental state where you're at that peace. So reading things that affirm you, speak. And I do have a book called, not plugging anything, but Designer's Original, A Woman's Guide to Understanding Her Self-Worth and Identity in God. And in there, few women that I've got compiled together that wrote this book, and they talk about their journey. Some of them suffered from low self-esteem, and some of them suffered from, a place of wanting to commit suicide, how they turned their life around with their faith, and they're at a place where now they're able to talk about it. And it has affirmations where you get up in the morning, look in the mirror, tell yourself, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy to be cared for, and just speak to yourself and try not to internalize fear and internalize doubt. So if you start doing a little bit of those things and just eat and write, and what I try to do each month, apart from doing my massage, is for once every month, I try to do something special, something different that I've never done before. So by the end of the year, I want to have 12 different experiences, whether it's trying a new dish, reading a new book, or visiting a restaurant, wherever it is, but try to do something that you've never done before. And that would give you some sense of gratification and fulfillment as we go along in our days. So that's what I try to do. So again, thank you so much for having me. And ladies, again, know your body. It's so important to know your body. When anything is off, any lumps, any bumps, anything that's unusual, get familiarized with your body. When you're in the shower, make sure you check your breast to make sure there's no lumps, and just all of that. Know yourself, because the more we know our bodies, then we're able now to tell our doctors, okay, you know what? I just saw this, it wasn't there before, or I just felt, this wasn't there before. So once you do that, it's very, very, very important.